Definitely one of the hardest design problems I faced while doing any kind of development is writing player controls for a character that can walk on a wall. I had to deal with this in with Mania Dash, and then I've studied it used in like other games that have sideways gravities, and now I'm trying to do it again with this game, and I still can't get like a perfect solution. It's a really tricky problem. Like the very first thing that I have to consider when doing this kind of controls is what buttons do I actually press when I'm walking on the walls. So it's like this is your world. When you're on normal ground, use the right key and the left key to move left and right. When you're on the wall, what button do you press? So there's two options. Either you can still use the right and left key, so using a keyboard, right? And you're using left or right, or with a joystick, you have the option of actually going up and down to move up and down on the walls. And I think this is actually like a more intuitive way in most circumstances. I've seen it done in Mario Wonder. That's one of the games I was looking at. In Mario Wonder, they kind of do the thing where you go different directions of gravity with this specific game mode, and when you're on the walls, you use up to go up and down to go down. And that's cool in most scenarios. Actually, there was another game I played. It was called Garbanzo Quest, where they also had like one level where you're on the wall, and it was actually really confusing using up or down with the joystick to move. So it actually really depends on the game. And one of the things that matters there is the speed of the character. So if it's a fast-paced game, I don't think using up or down works very well. And then there's the other thing that in Mania Dash you can crouch, and if you're using left or right, crouch is intuitively the down key. But if you're using up and down on a joystick and you're on like this left wall, all of a sudden you have to press right to go down, and that becomes like super confusing, super awkward to play with. So basically, I chose to always have you press left and right when you're on the wall. So right here, when I'm moving on the wall, see on the bottom over here, I'm still using the right key and the left key to move on the walls. So that was the first decision I had to make. And same thing with the left wall, left or right. The next decision is which keys do you actually use? Like I said which keys, like left and right. But when you're on the wall, do you use the left key to go up or the left key to go down? That's actually kind of a tricky like decision to make on its own. And it's not like an obvious solution. In Geometry Dash, I'm pretty sure the way it works is on the right wall, you use left to go down and right to go up like that. But it's different on the like the left wall. When the left wall, you use right to go up and left to go down. So does that make sense? I don't know. When I was testing it out, I kind of decided that it made sense that left would just continue your motion. So whichever direction you're already moving from the ground, it would just continue to start moving up like that and right like that. That seemed intuitive to me. But then there's the next problem that doesn't work when you're in reverse gravity. Because when you're up here on reverse gravity, you want it to like mirror the bottom gravity. So here, I'm in the ceiling and I'm using right to go right and left to go left. But that is actually the opposite of what it should be if I was following this like original method of continuing the motion. If I want to hold like one key to go all the way around, when I'm up there on the ceiling, I have to switch to using left to continue that motion. So now it's like there's a lack of consistency there. Right? So all over here, I can hold left. I'll keep going this way. If I keep going left, I'll go up like that. And all of a sudden, I'm on the ceiling, and holding left will actually make me go this way. So right there, my motion is stopped. And you can question, is that a problem or is it not a problem? It depends on how you want your game to flow. In Geometry Dash, Rob basically said, I guess you deal with it. Like right here in this corner, in this top right hand corner, if I hold right, so I'm going to hold right, when I get to the top, you kind of just stop moving. And then you have to go left to continue. And then when I go that, yep, I have to press left to continue. And you can think that's like intuitive, and in a way, I guess it sort of is. Like you just learn which way you have to go on which gravity, but it is kind of weird to have your motion to stop. Like, oh yeah, I'm pressing the wrong direction. And then there's like an even worse problem. Like this is on an inside, like inside corners. If you're outside of the corner and you use this thing, let me move this up. So now I'm up here, okay, and I want to move onto this wall down here. If I hold down right, I go up. Because on this wall, like holding right actually moves me going up within Geometry Dash's like scheme. So what I want to do, what would like be ideal would be to have the motion just flow very easily, but still this like ceiling is reversed from like the general pattern I've set out. So I kind of like had to think, okay, what's a good way of making these controls flow easily? Again, in Mario Wonder, they had a pretty good solution where if you go, I think this is like the kind of the part where it happens. I'm moving between the ground and the ceiling, and the entire time I'm pressing one key. I'm pressing left, and even though on top here I press left and they go down this way, on the underside, left will reverse my direction, but it doesn't reverse it immediately. There's kind of like a grace period where you still go right on the bottom, and then it eventually reverses left. So like right here, I'm not changing which button I'm pressing. I'm still holding left, but they don't immediately reverse your direction. They kind of give you a little grace period where you can realize, oh, I'm on the other side. It's about, and you can even see like you slowly turn direction and say, okay, let me switch direction. So that's what I tried to do in here this time. I didn't do that in Mania-1, but in here, right now, I'm like holding one key, and you'll see that the player, he moves like in the right direction and then turns around after a little while. And there'll probably have to be like some animation to indicate that you're like, I kind of this kind of rotation thing just for this prototype to show that you're moving in the wrong way you're supposed to move and you're gonna be switched soon. You know what? It's just so confusing, but it's much nicer than just stopping still at the corner. So that was my solution for that. And yeah, it's not a perfect solution. Like I said, I just can't get the best solution. And this problem has been bothering me ever since I started handling it in Mania-1. And it gets even more confusing when the camera is rotated because, you know, the camera can't rotate. If I make this upside down 180 degrees, well, now what are the controls now? In Geometry Dash, if you like turn the camera upside down, you'll find that your controls are now backwards. It looks like I'm on the ground, but now when I press right, I go left. When I press left, I go right. And that's backwards than what you expect. And maybe like again, you say, that's how I want it in my game. Clearly Rob said, okay, yeah, deal with it. That's how it is. I didn't like that. So right now I have to make the controls like match the orientation of the camera. So right now, what I'm on the ceiling right now, but since it's down on the camera, it's gonna have it so that right still makes it go right, left still makes it go left, and the same thing. Now the original ground becomes like the ceiling, and it has this kind of mechanic. And like 45, the seesaw is so confusing. One of the things at 45 degrees, I got this like interesting case where both of these like corners, so these two right here, they're both up. They're not really on the side, and I have to decide, okay, what's the control? Like I'm basically treating both of these as the ceiling now. They're gonna share the same kind of control scheme as what would be the ceiling, and this bottom is considered just the ground. So I don't know if that made any sense. I'm really rambling, but this problem is really complicated, and I just wanted to maybe shed a little light on that. Maybe you guys didn't understand any of that, but at least you can understand that it's complicated. So, yeah, that's all.